everybody, and welcome to Meet the Dog. I'm Chris, and with me today is Mr. Dawes. Dawes is from the Poppins litter, born back in April 2023, so he's about a year and a half. Parents are Capri and Trip, currently weighing in at about 126 and a half pounds, eating 3 times a day. 2.5 cups for breakfast and dinner, 2 cups at lunch. He's doing pretty well in his training right now. I think the thing that he kind of needs some work on is recently he's been having some issues with loading up into vehicles. This is something he used to do in the past where he wasn't a huge fan of getting into cars. It is something we worked on him with. We would feed him his breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the car, and eventually he did become fine with loading up. So it seems like he might have backslid a little bit. So we'll keep working on that with him, but he is at least getting in. It's not as much of a fight as it used to be. Other than that, it seems like he's doing pretty well in his training. He's a very sweet boy. He looks a lot like his older brother Jack. He's got a bit of a longer snout, but if you look at him straight on, they've got the same face. I've actually done a couple double takes with him in the past, thinking it was Jack. Yeah, gonna let it catch up, and we'll answer some questions about Mr. Dawes. Outside. What? Oh, it's a fly. There's a fly bothering you. No, you're fine. You're fine. The fly's gone. Well, I would answer questions if the comments would load for me. Buddy, you are slipping through the armrest, and that's probably not going to be good for you. Well, the comments aren't loading for me, and that's up. There we go. Okay. All right, comments are loaded. Just gotta wait for any questions about Dawes. Dawes, come back over here, buddy. Dawes. Okay. Look. Good boy. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Barb V asks, does he ever get into any mischief? Yes. Doesn't get along very well with his brother, so sometimes they have a lot to say to each other if they're next to each other through the fence. He has, in the past, he has a bit of a history of being a bully. A lot of people say he's calmed down. I don't really believe it. But he does have a little bit of a history of being a bully. He used to, when they were still very much puppies, he used to bully Derby a lot. He was actually, I think, the first of the boys that we had to separate from the rest of the group. But other than that, he's pretty well behaved. So. He doesn't usually give me too much trouble. Barbie asks, how is his recall doing after meals? So So recently, he's been pretty iffy about eating at the stand. He's been very, I guess, distracted would be the word. Dawes, don't touch that. He's been very distracted, doesn't really want to eat at the stand. He'll eat once he's back in his kennel, but to get him to eat at the stand sometimes take a bit of work. And then after that, his recall is usually pretty good. Sometimes he kind of needs to sniff around a bit, but definitely not the worst I've seen at the litter. Definitely not his best. He used to be a lot better at recalling after feeding, but neither is it his worst. So right now, I think his recall after meals, it needs a little polishing up, but definitely not the worst I've seen. Crafty asks, how is he during events and training away from SDP? I don't know if he's been at an event in a while. I can't remember the last time he went to an event. Training off property, though, it seems like he's doing pretty well once they're able to get him into the car. I haven't heard any complaints about his training in public. So it seems like he's doing pretty well. Yeah, you're a good boy, huh? Now you're nice and relaxed. Crafty asks, what is his reaction to the rain? Not a huge fan of it, but will still play in it. He doesn't avoid it like Jake avoids it, or like I think Davis used to avoid. I think it was Davis who used to just hide inside the entire day. He will play in it, but I think he'll stay inside if he has the choice. If his kennel's closed, I mean. If his kennel's open, he'll go out and play. If it's closed, he'll probably just stay inside. Doesn't hate it, but it's not his first choice. Yeah, good boy, huh? Bart V asks, who does he like to play with? He plays really well with Poppins and Pearly. Jet 2 he'll play pretty well with. We actually recently tried him with Minnie and Piper, and he did very well with them. We tried him with Piper a little while ago, but he was bullying her a bit, so we kind of held off for a while. But it seems like they're old enough now that he's fine with them. And recently I tried him with Emma again. A little while ago, a few months back, the two of them had a bit of an argument. Neither of them were hurt, but I kind of held off on putting them together for a little while. And recently Sarah tried the two of them together, and oh, yeah, it's just a fly. It's just a fly, buddy. It's just a fly. No, the fly. Oh, now the fly's on me. The fly will just stay on me. But it seems like him and Emma are flying together again. So, that's good. Crafty asks, what quirks are you currently working on in training? I know today we worked a little bit on, I mentioned it earlier, but he's done a little bit of a backslide with his loading up into vehicles. So Lynn and I did a little work on that today before she took him out to train. I helped her get him into the car. We basically just, he would freeze up when he got close to the open trunk. So what we ended up doing, we just kind of kept walking him around the car, bring him around, bring him to the trunk, see if he could go in. If he didn't, go around again. If he did, we'd get him in, and then he'd immediately jump back out. So we'd go around again, and eventually what ended up happening is we got him in, and I just kind of body blocked him from getting back out, and we kind of got him to lie down, calm down a little bit, and And then he did stay in the trunk, and we were able to close it, and he went out training. As for what he's working out in training in public, I haven't heard anything that he like needs like wild improvement on. I haven't heard any like, oh hey, he really needs work on this. So it sounds like he's doing pretty well. You doing well in your training? You're doing so well in your training, aren't you? What a good man. The fly's gone. You don't need to like be on guard anymore. Barb V asked what 3 words best describe him. Good question. I think laid back. He's usually pretty laid back. What's another good couple words to describe you, Dawes? Yeah, laid back. Well, you're a bit of a snuggler, so I'd say cuddly. I know I used to describe that a lot of the dogs like that, but this is a very snuggly litter. So laid back, cuddly. What else we got? Curious. He's a pretty curious dog. What, do you hear them outside, bud? You hear them outside? Give it another minute for any last minute questions about Dawes. If the comments load. The comments have kind of given me some trouble about loading. There we go. Dawes, come here. Dawes. Dawes, come here, buddy. I know you heard Sarah outside, and now you're all excited. You want to go outside? Huh? We'll go outside when you go back. And we'll answer this last question. What are his best strengths? I'm actually not too sure. I haven't taken a good look at the training log in a while. So I don't know exactly what he is excelling with as far as training out in public goes. At the farm, he's usually pretty good about calming down when we need him to calm down about something, if he's barking at something. And he's usually pretty good, and he's usually very good about his recall while he's out playing. So I'd say recall is one of his best strengths. Recall and calming down. Huh? I say as you are all antsy now and are not calming down. Alright, I think that is all the time we have. He seems like he wants to get going, so we're going to get out of here. Thank you all very much for tuning in. As always, we'll be back next week with another dog. Until then, everybody take care.